Discover the incredible life-changing moment a billionaire finds his daughter's hidden pain shocking. Jack Thompson stood on the balcony of his sprawling Maplewood estate, overlooking the manicured lawns and sun-kissed streets. The annual Maplewood Charity Gala was just days away, a prestigious event where his reputation as a tech mogul would shine brightly among friends and neighbors. To everyone, he was the embodiment of success, a billionaire with a heart ready to give back. But beneath the polished facade, his heart was heavy, and the weight he felt wasn't from his wealth that it was from his daughter, Emily, at 16. Emily was an enigma wrapped in shadows. Despite her designer wardrobe and the latest gadgets, she was lonely. Jack, immersed in board meetings and technology launches, was blind to the quiet storm that brewed within her. Days turned into weeks without genuine connection, and Emily was left feeling like a ghost in her own home. As Jack flipped through the pages of her journal, he found a world he never knew existed, a raw, uncensored window into Emily's aching soul. His hands trembled with each word, a wave of guilt flooding his heart as he read her confessions of anxiety, her yearning for his attention. "Why can't he see me?" she had written, tears staining the pages. Those words shattered Jack's heart, a heart that was technically successful, yet emotionally bankrupt. His life hadn't always been this way. Growing up in a working-class family, he knew the struggle, the balancing act of dreams and reality. But his ambition had driven a wedge between his roots and his current life. He was oblivious to the same darkness creeping into Emily's life, overshadowed by his own hunger for success. As the gala approached, his mind was occupied with philanthropic ideas to showcase their community spirit, yet all he could think of was editing a speech he was planning to give, a speech that made him realize that the audience might not be as important as the one he had at home. "You can't ride on the coattails of my name forever," Jack had told her, not understanding her cry for autonomy. And yet, she felt trapped beneath the weight of it all, struggling to assert her own identity. Days turned into nights brimming with silent tension. Emily was bursting with a mix of frustration and hopelessness, lashing out during mundane conversations. But Jack remained oblivious, caught up in the high-stakes life he had created. As emotions reached a boiling point during the gala preparations, the air crackled with unease. Emily, feeling invisible, shouted, "I'm not just Jack Thompson's daughter." A shock of quiet fell over the room, hearts racing with whispered judgment. Yet, the community didn't know the whole story. They only saw the billionaire, the success, and not the cracks in his carefully crafted narrative. Jack stood at the threshold of his well-constructed reality, a web of expectations ready to collapse. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. On the night of the gala, he took to the stage, ready to unveil plans for a new mental health initiative. But instead, the palpable tension pulled at his heartstrings. What if they could break the stigma together? Realizing how wrapped up he had become in his own success, he took a deep breath. With nervous conviction, he addressed the crowd. "I'd like to share something personal, something that matters more than any business plan." Jack's eyes darted to Emily in the audience. "Mental health affects all of us, my family included." Gasps rippled through the room, their reactions a testament to the community's expectations colliding with raw honesty. In that moment, the weight of unspoken words loomed between Jack and Emily, a silent plea for understanding. Would this be the breakthrough they so desperately needed, or would it only push them further apart? As the crowd held its breath, anticipation hung heavy in the air. This wasn't just a gala. It was the turning point of their fractured relationship, teetering on the edge of hope and despair. The room was electric, charged with a mixture of surprise and apprehension. Jack looked out at the faces before him, friends, colleagues, and community leaders, all wearing expressions that mirrored his own internal struggle. Emily's gaze was steady, a mix of defiance and longing, as if she was daring him to continue. He took another breath, grounding himself in the moment. I've spent so much time building a legacy that I lost sight of what really matters: my family, my daughter. That admission seemed to hang in the air like a fog. Whispers floated through the crowd, but Jack pressed on, vulnerability gnawing at him like a distant echo. I've neglected what is right in front of me. Jack's eyes were locked onto Emily's, searching for a flicker of understanding amidst their shattered past. The very weight he had carried alone for so long seemed to dissipate slightly, light streaming in through the cracks of their miscommunication. After years of being lost in his own accomplishments, he was finally peeling back the layers, exposing his authentic self to the world. Emily's lips parted in surprise, her expression softening ever so slightly. It was a delicate moment, fragile like glass. Perhaps for the first time, she felt like her father wasn't just a distant figure on a pedestal, but a flawed human being recognizing his own failings. I read her journal, Jack continued, his voice cracking slightly as he felt the room's attention sharpen. I didn't know how much she was struggling, and I didn't see how much she needed me. The truth hung between them, a lifeline as they both teetered on uncertainty. The audience watched intently as tears shimmered in Emily's eyes, and for a moment, the grandiosity of the gala faded into the background. There was just the two of them, their unaired grievances laid bare before the world. Jack longed to reach out, to pull her into an embrace that said everything his words couldn't. I'm scared, Emily finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper, yet it echoed painfully throughout the hall. I'm scared you'll never really understand me. I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to find myself in your shadow. Jack's heart sank. Shouldn't he have protected her from this? He stepped off the stage, moving towards her, the click of his shoes against the polished floor underscoring the silence that enveloped them. As he approached, he saw the glimmer of hope battling the isolation in her gaze. You're right, and I'm so sorry, Em. I want to know you, the real you. The crowd moved closer, a collective heartbeat quickening as they witnessed this rare moment of raw connection. Some shifted uncomfortably, unsure if they were intruding, while others held their breath, leaning in as if they could sense a shift in the air. Emily caught his eye, tears streaming down her cheeks. It's hard to feel like I matter when you're always chasing the next big thing. Jack felt the bite of her words, but didn't flinch. Instead, he reached for her hand, grasping it in his, grounding them both. Let us chase it together then. I want to hear your voice even when it seems lost. The relief in Emily's expression was palpable. The storm between them hadn't calmed, but this moment felt like a gentle rain after a raging tempest. Their path wasn't clear, but they'd taken the first step together. As the crowd began to clap, some caught in tears, Jack knew this was just the beginning. They had so much to unravel, so much to understand. He could barely believe it. This wasn't the closure he had planned, but perhaps it was a starting line. Can we start over? Emily asked, her voice still shaky but filled with hope. Jack smiled tenderly, squeezing her hand tighter. Of course. Let us do it one day at a time. As they stood together, more than father and daughter but as allies against the world, a new chapter was opening before them. Yet uncertainty still loomed. Would the journey ahead strengthen their bond or pull them farther apart? Jack couldn't shake the thought, and as he looked at Emily, he knew this was only the beginning of a long road ahead. What challenges awaited them as they attempted to rebuild? The applause reverberated through the hall, but amidst the clapping and murmurs of support, Jack barely registered the sound. His focus was solely on Emily. The connection between them felt tenuous, but alive. Her eyes sparkled with possibility, a canvas waiting for the colors of their renewed relationship. As the crowd began to disperse, the moment of intimacy faded into the hum of reality. Jack felt a knot in his stomach as he realized the weight of what they had just shared. Would he be able to live up to the promise he made? Could he learn to truly understand his daughter? Emily wiped her tears with the back of her hand, glancing around as if she suddenly noticed the world outside their bubble. I think I need some air, she stammered, her cheeks flushed. Without waiting for a response, she slipped out of the hall, leaving Jack standing there, his heart pounding. He hurried after her, navigating through the crowd of familiar faces, all eager to offer congratulations for his heartfelt speech. But Jack's heart was not in it. He pushed through to the outdoor terrace, where the cool breeze hit him like a splash of water. Emily stood at the railing, gazing out into the dimly lit street below, her posture rigid. Jack stepped beside her, unsure of what to say. He finally uttered, trying to bridge the distance threatening to widen between them. I meant every word. I want to be there for you. Her eyes remained fixed on the skyline. It's going to take time, Dad. I'm not sure you can just flip a switch and fix everything, she replied, her voice a mix of anger and sorrow. You don't even know the extent of it, the things I felt. Jack swallowed hard, the truth of her words cutting through him. He realized he had only seen the surface of Emily's struggles, the shadow of a person behind his pursuits. Then tell me, he urged softly, shifting closer. I want to know. I want to understand. She turned to him, and for a brief moment, vulnerability flickered across her features. It's not that easy. You've built this whole life, this image of who you are. I don't fit into that perfect picture. I never did. Where the gap between them felt unbridgeable moments ago, Jack felt a warmth begin to blossom. Emily, I have spent so long building a brand, living in my own head, that I never stopped to see the effects on you. I can't change the past, but I can promise to try if you let me. Emily's gaze softened slightly, and gratitude mingled with hesitation. If you really wanna, maybe we can start small? Anything, Jack promised, his voice unwavering. Just show me the way. He felt a tentative smile beginning to form on her lips. It felt like a fragile truce, but a truce nonetheless. Just then, the night air buzzed with piano music from inside, a soft reminder of the lingering celebration. Do you want to go back? He asked, hoping she might feel ready to face their community again. She hesitated, the music beckoning her back into the warmth of the gathering, but the shadows of her thoughts clung tightly. Maybe, but I'd rather talk alone first, she whispered, a hint of courage curling through her words. Okay, Jack replied, feeling a mixture of relief and anticipation. Let us walk a little. We can talk about anything. As they moved away from the noise, hand in hand, he felt hope blossom. Maybe this was the start of a real connection, one built on honesty and understanding. But as the path ahead unfolded, Jack could see the flickering shadows of memories still to confront. What would happen when they faced the things left unsaid? Would they emerge stronger or allow new doubts to shatter this fragile bond? As they strolled down the quiet street, the soft sounds of laughter and music faded into a comforting hum behind them. Jack glanced sideways at Emily. She walked just a step in front, her shoulders still tense, but her grip on his hand a sign of her willingness to engage. Each footfall felt heavy, burdened with unseen weight. Do you remember that summer, the one we spent at Lake Harmony? He asked, searching for a spark of nostalgia to ignite their conversation. Emily paused, flicking her gaze to the ground. Yeah, I remember. Her voice wavered, and Jack felt the shift in her energy. You were so busy with your phone, always glued to it. You'd say we were disconnected from the world. The admission stung more than he expected. He had thought he was being productive. I thought it made me a good provider, he murmured, guilt pooling in his chest. But I felt empty, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Like you were there, but not really. Silence enveloped them as they walked, the night air thick with unspoken feelings. Jack's mind raced as he processed the truth. How had he let this happen? Was work really more important than the daughter standing beside him? I didn't see it then. He finally said, his voice cracking. I see it now, and I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to feel that way. She turned to face him, her eyes glistening. You can't just apologize and expect everything to be better. It's deeper than that. I know, he admitted, his heart beating heavier. I want to understand. I really want to help you, but I don't know how. A moment passed where the world around them seemed to blur, and Jack could see the flicker of hurt and hope in Emily's eyes. She took a deep breath. I don't want to be perfect, Dad. I just want to be seen, truly seen. His heart twisted. What can I do to really see you? With a sigh, she glanced up at the stars as if looking for answers. Start by listening. I don't want you to fix me. I just want you to be there. Jack nodded slowly, each word pricking at his conscience. I can do that. I promise I'll listen. And if I say the wrong thing, tell me. I might not have the words, Emily said, glancing at him with uncertainty. But I'll try. Her willingness touched a part of him he never knew needed healing. Their bond was fragile, but in that moment, it felt powerful, a thread of communication woven between them. Jack reached to tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear. I'm proud of you, Em, for wanting to engage, for being brave. Proud. I'm just scared, she confessed, her features softening. I don't want to hurt anymore, but I don't know if I can change how I feel. A pang echoed in Jack's chest. We can face it together. As they resumed their walk, the air felt lighter. Jack allowed himself a brief smile. For the first time, he felt hope creeping in, threading through his heart like warmth on a cold day. But doubt still gnawed at the edges of his mind. He knew things couldn't be solved so easily. What if they stumbled upon the scars he didn't want to see? And just then, a thought struck him. What if we could start with something fun? He suggested. Something that makes you happy? We could go back to the lake, just the two of us. Emily practically froze, and Jack could see the caution in her eyes. Really? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes. It'll be our chance to reconnect, to make new memories. She chewed her lip, clearly weighing the idea. But before she could respond, a car drove past, lights spilling over their faces, transforming the moment into something electric. Do you think it will work? She asked, genuine uncertainty in her voice. I'm not sure, he admitted, but we won't know unless we try. As they stood there, the tension in the air shifted, teetering on the brink of change. Would this be the leap they both needed, or yet another misstep on a long journey? With a deep breath, Emily stepped closer, their shoulders brushing. Let us do it then. I'll tell you stories about that summer. Jack's heart swelled, but as they moved forward, the shadows lurking behind their hopeful steps loomed. Large, waiting to reveal themselves. Could they face them together, or would the weight of the past pull them back into isolation? With the decision hanging in the air, a flood of emotions coursed through Jack. Relief, fear, and a flicker of excitement danced together, creating a whirlwind within him. Emily's tentative smile cut through his doubt, and he found himself smiling back, though the shadow of uncertainty still loomed. Okay, he said, his voice steadying. Let us plan for the weekend. Just the two of us, at Lake Harmony. We'll leave early, catch breakfast on the way at LL.Be great. Emily nodded slowly, acceptance softening her features. What if it doesn't feel great? The glimmer of hope in her eyes clashed with the vulnerability that clouded her voice. Jack stopped walking and turned to face her completely. We'll deal with that when it happens. One step at a time, right? The words felt like a promise, not just to her, but to himself. As they resumed their walk, Jack couldn't shake his doubts. Would he truly be present this time? How could he ensure he wouldn't slip back into the old patterns of distraction? The reality of their past hung silently in between them, still so very real, and so very painful. Emily shifted her grip on his hand, squeezing it tighter. Dad, what if you can't handle what I want to talk about? I want to know unless we try, he replied, cringing inside as those words felt like a naive leap of faith. He needed to remind himself of that. But what if I hurt you? Her vulnerability caught him off guard, and he hesitated. We've both been hurt, Em. It's part of the journey. But if we don't talk about it, if we don't face it, it just stays there, lingering. I don't want that for us. The sincerity in his tone seemed to reach her, and for a brief moment, he saw her nose wrinkle in a way that reminded him of when she was little. The world felt big and heavy back then, filled with imaginary threats. Vulnerabilities shared between them felt like walking into the unknown. Yet at that moment, hope flickered once more. As they reached the edge of town, the familiar outline of the diner came into view. Jack instinctively pulled Emily inside, the comforting scent of frying eggs and coffee wrapping around them like an embrace. They slid into a booth, and he glanced across the menu, trying to focus on the clatter of plates rather than the weight of their upcoming trip. After placing their orders, he returned his gaze to Emily, who was idly tracing patterns in the laminated table. Hey, he said softly, what is your favorite memory from the lake? She looked up, surprised by the question, the shadow of worry replaced with curiosity. Maybe the time you taught me how to skip rocks? Jack chuckled, remembering how she had laughed in delight as the stones danced across the water. You were so determined, I thought we'd never leave. Yeah, and that was the day I got a sunburn, but it was worth it. She laughed, a genuine sound that resonated in the air between them. The ice, once thick and impenetrable, began to crack. Their food arrived, and while they ate, Jack seized the moment. What did that sunburn teach you? Not to underestimate the power of sunscreen? She replied with a grin, but then her expression softened. And that sometimes, you just have to enjoy the moment, pain or not. That was when Jack felt something shift deep inside him. Exactly, Em. We'll embrace it all, the laughter, the pain, everything. Just promise me we'll be honest, no matter how hard it gets. I promise, she said quietly, yet it felt like a powerful oath between them. As they finished eating, a sudden thought struck Jack, intertwining with the budding hope. What if we actually managed to have fun at the lake? Just imagine it. Emily's eyes lit up. Then maybe I'll show you all of the best places to swim. Like the cove. He raised an eyebrow playfully. I hope you're ready to get splashed. The warmth of their connection enveloped them, buoyed by light banter. Yet, as they walked back out into the night, Jack couldn't ignore the voice at the back of his head, whispering doubts that felt all too familiar. What if the past came rushing back? What if those hidden pains became too overwhelming to face together? As they approached the car, Emily turned to him suddenly. Dad, do you think we'll be okay? The moonlight cast a glow around them, but Jack felt the weight of their journey ahead, flickering in the distance. I hope so, Em. I really do. But as they got into the car, a growing sense of trepidation washed over him. What if their unhealed scars found a way to surface at one of the most unexpected moments? The drive to the lake was ahead of them, but it felt like a leap into the dark. Would they find solace there, or would it expose everything they had worked to cover up? The engine hummed softly as Jack turned the key in the ignition, breaking the quiet that enveloped them. He stole a glance at Emily, her reflection dancing in the car's rearview mirror under the dim interior light. She wore a smile, but the uncertainty lingered behind it, flickering like a candle in the wind. The world outside zipped by as they hit the road, the familiar turn of the highway feeling like home, yet so foreign with the weight of their new endeavor hanging heavily. So, what is the first thing we'll do when we get there? Jack asked, trying to keep the mood light. Can we go swimming right away? She replied excitedly, her eyes brightening. Swimming? In the chilly morning water? You're a brave one, he teased, chuckling. Just think how refreshing it'll be. And, hey, I might even beat you to the raft this time. She jabbed playfully at his arm, the warmth of her laughter wrapping around him like a warm blanket. He couldn't help but laugh too, but the underlying tension in his gut remained. The banter felt like a thin veil stretched over their deep-seated issues. He resisted the urge to probe deeper into her feelings about the upcoming conversations. They'd agreed to take it one step at a time. Perhaps they needed a few light moments to build their way back into the depth of their relationship. They drove on, familiar landmarks from their family trips punctuating the journey, the old barn leaning against the sunset, the gas station with the gnarled trees that had once hosted countless picnics. Each one brought forward memories that urged Jack to embrace the hope he desperately wanted to cling to. As they neared Lake Harmony, the trees began to thin, and the water glimmered like a comforting blanket under the moonlight. They rounded the final bend, and Jack's heart raced at the sight of the empty parking lot. The lake was theirs for the night. Look, Emily exclaimed as they parked. She pointed at the shimmering surface of the lake reflecting the stars. It looks beautiful. Yeah, it really does, Jack replied, his heart swelling with possibilities. As they stepped out of the car, the cool evening air wrapped around them, and Jack took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the fragrant scent of pine and water. It was grounding. He hoped this shared moment would be enough to help them confront the shadows that lurked just beneath the surface. Emily darted towards the shore, her silhouette illuminated by the gentle glow of the moon. She stood there, just at the water's edge, gazing out at the rippling lake as if searching for clarity in its depths. Jack watched her, anxiety creeping back, and was she truly ready for what had to come next? Hey, Em, want to make a wish? Jack called out, trying to break the tension. She turned, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. What? Like, throw a rock. Exactly. You know, like when we were younger. Make it count. A smile broke through her hesitation, and she bent to pick up a smooth stone at her feet. As she held it in her palm, Jack felt hope surge within him. Okay, ready? She asked, her voice steady yet hesitant. On 3 he guided. 1, 2, 3. They threw their stones, the splashes echoing like laughter. In that moment, the world felt lighter, but as the ripples faded, Jack felt the tension between them thicken. The weight of their unresolved past clung to him like mist, and he could see it reflected in Emily's gaze. Dad, she finally said, her voice shaking slightly. Yeah? He turned, his heart pounding. I think I'm ready to talk now. The gravity of her words hung heavy in the air, more potent than the water before them. Jack's breath caught in his throat. Their journey was beginning, and it carried the weight of both hope and fear. Could he truly weather the storm that lay ahead? Okay, he said carefully. Let us sit by the water. I'm here. As they sank to the cool grass, the moonlight draping them, the night stretched ominously before them. Jack reached for her hand, bracing himself for what would come next. What truth would emerge in the fragile light of this moment? Would their connection deepen, or would it reveal the fractures they had tried to hide? Jack felt the weight of her hand in his. It was warm, grounding. Just knowing she was there, sitting beside him, filled him with both dread and determination. He glanced sideways at Emily, her face still lit softly by the moon. You know, he started, his voice quieter than he intended. I've been thinking a lot about how we ended up here, how things changed. Emily nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars like they were the only thing anchoring her to this moment. I have too. Her voice trembled. I just didn't know how to start talking about it. Maybe we just start with what's on your mind right now, he suggested, hoping to ease her into it. No pressure. She took a deep breath, the sound mingling with the gentle lapping of the waves against the shore. I feel like I don't really know you anymore, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. You're my dad, but sometimes it feels like you're a stranger. Each word felt like a slap, sharp and sharp-edged. It wasn't the truth he wanted to hear, but it was the truth he needed. I get that, he replied quietly. I've been so caught up trying to fix everything, to be what I thought you needed, that I lost sight of just being here with you. Emily looked at him then, her eyes glistening like the lake's surface. I missed the time we spent together. The fun, the laughs. I thought if we just pushed through it all, we'd be okay. But I didn't realize I was falling apart too. That was never the goal. I thought, maybe if I focused on work and providing, it would make things better, Jack said, his chest tightening. But I see now I was so wrong. I just want to help you. She looked back at the water, the moonlight dancing on her features. It's not just about you trying to help me. I need you in my life. Like, really need you. Not just as a provider, but as my dad. A lump formed in Jack's throat, thick and heavy. I want that too. I want to understand what you're going through. I can't fix everything, but I want to be here for you, however you need. Even if it's messy? She asked, her voice quivering. Especially if it's messy, he promised, squeezing her hand tighter. I love you. That doesn't change. A tear slipped down Emily's cheek, and she wiped it away quickly. Jack's heart shattered a little more. They both knew this was only the surface of what lay beneath. What if we're not good at this? She asked, vulnerability lacing her words. Then we figure it out together, Jack replied, a mix of fear and hope bubbling inside him. No more running away. Just us right here. She looked back at him, a small smile breaking through the sadness. Okay, but I have to tell you everything. Like, everything. Jack's heart raced. This was at the moment he'd been both longing for and dreading. I'm ready, he said softly. I promise you can say anything. As she opened her mouth, the world around them seemed to still. The water continued to ripple, the stars twinkled down as an audience, and Jack felt the gravity of the night wrapping around them. But before she could speak, a rustle in the bushes caught their attention. They both turned toward the sound, their moment stolen. What was that? Emily whispered, the tension slipping back as curiosity overwhelmed. Jack raised an eyebrow, his heart still pounding from her revelation. I have no idea, but maybe we should check it out, he said, feeling suddenly adventurous. Or maybe we should just get back to our talk, she suggested, glancing at Jack with uncertainty. Jack stood up, the thrill mixing with every emotion swirling in him. Let us make it fun. Whatever it is, let us see what it wants. He pulled her up with him, and together they moved toward the sound, neither of them aware that the night was about to unveil more than just lingering regrets and the secrets of the heart. What awaited them in the shadows? Would it bring more complications, or would it lead to the hope they both sought? As Jack and Emily crept toward the bushes, the moonlight filtered through the leaves, casting eerie shadows around them. Jack's heart raced not just from the idea of what lay ahead, but from the lingering tension of their conversation. The urge to know more about Emily's hidden pain battled with the excitement of their adventure. Do you think it's an animal? Emily whispered, inching closer to Jack, her earlier courage fading. Maybe, he replied, keeping his voice low. curiosity underscoring each word. Or it could just be the wind playing tricks. Let us just find out. With every step, the rustling grew louder, and a sense of shared thrill electrified the air. They reached the edge of the bushes, where the dense foliage hid whatever mystery awaited them. Jack hesitated for a split second, a nagging worry creeping in. What if it was something dangerous? Still, curiosity overpowered fear. He took another step, peering through the branches. Suddenly, a small figure darted out, a wild rabbit, bounding across the path and disappearing into the underbrush. They both burst into laughter, forgetting for a moment the heaviness in their hearts. That's all it was. Emily giggled, her voice lightening. Yet, the moment of joy quickly faded into silence, the weight of their conversation creeping back in. Jack took a deep breath. Maybe we're surrounded by more than just rabbits out here, he said, his tone shifting. Maybe we can find something that helps us face what's inside. Emily turned to him, her eyes searching his face. What do you mean? Like some sign or something? He shrugged. You know, out here, where it feels like anything is possible, maybe we can discover together what we need. She seemed to contemplate this, her gaze drifting back to the stars. You really think anything can change? What if it can? He replied, his voice imbued with hope. You said you'd share everything. That means we have to be brave, Em. This is part of it. A soft murmur escaped Emily's lips, uncertainty still hanging in the air. Jack could see the conflict on her face, a mixture of longing and fear battling for supremacy. He wanted to bridge that gap between them, to illuminate the truth hiding in the dark corners of their hearts. As they continued forward, the woods around them buzzed with nocturnal life. The rustle of leaves and chirping crickets filled the silence. Jack could feel Emily's hand still clasped in his, a steady reminder of their connection. Then, they stumbled upon a small clearing, illuminated by the silvery light of the moon. In its center lay a fallen tree, gnarled and weathered but strangely beautiful. Look at this, Jack said, motioning for Emily to step closer. The massive trunk was covered in moss, and vibrant fungi dotted its surface, lending it an air of magic. Sometimes, even the most broken things can be so alive. Emily approached cautiously, kneeling beside the tree. It's like it's been through so much, yet it still stands here, she observed, her fingertips brushing against the bark. Exactly, Jack replied, his heart swelling with the moment's significance. It's a reminder that we can endure too, that we can rebuild, no matter how messy things get. The words hung between them, and for the first time in a while, Jack felt a flicker of hope. But just as he thought they were making progress, Emily stood up suddenly. I need to tell you something, she said, her breath hitching as she stared into the trees. Jack's heart raced again. This was it. The moment he'd been waiting for, but also the moment he feared. What is it, Em? Promise me you won't get upset. The simple request sent a shockwave through him. He didn't want to feel any more vulnerable than he already was, but he nodded, urging her to continue. Okay, but the words faltered as the echo of another rustle tore through the air, closer now. Jack's pulse quickened again. Something's over there, he said, turning his head toward the noise. Emily's eyes widened in panic as she stepped back. What if it's dangerous? Don't worry, just stay close, he urged, his protective instincts kicking in. With renewed urgency, they surveyed the shadows, ready to face whatever awaited them. But would it be the truth they were seeking, or something else entirely? The air crackled with tension as they braced themselves, hearts pounding. What was hiding in the darkness? And how would it impact the fragile connection they were trying to rebuild? The rustling grew louder, branches snapping as if something or someone was moving through the woods. Jack tightened his grip on Emily's hand, drawing her closer, the warmth of her palm both comforting and grounding. Listen, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The sound was unmistakable now. It was accompanied by low, guttural growls, conflicting with the peaceful night that enveloped them. Emily's breathing quickened, each inhale shaky as she backed further away. Something primal flickered in her eyes, the urge to run. Jack could feel the tension radiating from her. It was contagious, a pulse of fear that hummed between them. Stay with me, Em, he urged, stepping forward, his chest rising and falling rapidly. This was not just about curiosity anymore, it was about facing their fears together. We will face whatever it is, together. Just then, A shadow lurked at the edge of the clearing, barely visible but distinctly threatening. Jack squinted, trying to make out what it was. As the figure stepped into the moonlight, a gasp escaped Emily's lips. It was a large dog, matted fur and a cautious stance, but not an ordinary pet. This one seemed lost and wild, its yellow eyes like glowing embers. Both fear and empathy tugged at Jack. The creature looked as if it had endured hardships of its own. "It's just a dog," he said, relief washing over him. "Come on, let us back away slowly." But Emily didn't move. Instead, she stood frozen, her expression a whirlwind of emotions. For Jack, it felt like time had frozen, just like the moment between them before the shadows shifted. He could sense it in her uneasy posture, the fear of encountering something vulnerable, something that might mirror her own hidden pain. "What if it bites?" she whispered, her voice trembling, filled with the weight of her unspoken fears. "Or what if it just wants help?" Jack proposed, his heart expanding with the idea. Sometimes broken things need someone to reach out to them. The dog stepped closer, sniffing the air cautiously, cocking its head to the side. In that moment, Jack felt a wave of understanding pass between him and the creature. They were both navigating through loneliness and fear, yearning for connection. Taking a deep breath, Jack crouched down slowly. "Hey, buddy," he cooed softly, his voice steady. "It's okay. We're not here to hurt you." The dog hesitated before inching forward, tail flickering uncertainly. Emily still stood where she was, and Jack glanced back at her, eyes urging her to join him. "Come on, Em. I need you here with me." As if on cue, he saw the flicker of resolve crossing Emily's features. She took a tentative step forward, and then another, until they both knelt together. "You're safe," she whispered to the dog, her heart opening just a little more. Jack was surprised at how beautiful she looked in that moment, how her uncertainty began to melt away as she reached her hand out, palm facing the creature. The dog sniffed her fingers, then tentatively nudged against her. A moment of quiet understanding enveloped the clearing, the connection sparking like a fire igniting after years of darkness. "This is how change happens," Jack murmured, quietly awed by the scene unfolding before him. "If we just reach out, something good can come back to us." As they shared a glance, Jack felt the weight of the unspoken truth Emily had almost revealed earlier. Now, it felt like the moment had shifted, filled with possibilities. But just as hope began to bloom, the dog suddenly jerked its head up as another noise cut through the silence, a distant but unmistakable howl. Jack and Emily exchanged worried looks, the fleeting connection of warmth trapped again in a surge of tense uncertainty. They could feel the energy change, and the night as shadows grew heavier. "What was that?" Emily whispered, her earlier courage stalling. The vulnerability they had just shared felt at risk again, threatening to dissolve into the darkness. "Whatever it is, we can face it together," Jack said, his voice steady despite the apprehension creeping back in. But as the menacing sounds echoed through the woods, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real struggle wasn't just outside. It lay in the unsaid words between them, poised on the brink of recognition. Will they find the strength to confront what's hiding in both the woods and in their hearts? As the chilling howl pierced the tranquil night, both Jack and Emily remained frozen, hearts racing like wildfire. The wild dog, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, retreated slightly, its eyes wide with caution. Jack felt the urge to leap to his feet, ready to protect Emily, but he held himself steady, letting his instinct guide him. "Let us move back a bit," Jack whispered, drawing in closer to Emily. Together they created a barrier of calm, right where chaos threatened to break. "We've faced this together. Remember that." "I don't know if I can," Emily replied, her voice barely a murmur. But there was a flicker of determination in her eyes. "What if it's not just there? What if the howls are inside?" Jack's heart ached at her words. Her fears lay bare, echoing the haunting apprehension inside him. "You know what?" he murmured softly, squeezing the warmth of her hand tighter. "It's okay to be scared. We don't have to pretend everything's all right. Sometimes the darkness is just there, we just need to navigate through it." The silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken truths. The wilderness pressed around them, a reminder that their talk had only just begun. Then, with a gentle nudge of courage, Emily said, "I need you to listen to me. I mean really listen." With that, The barrier of fear began to take shape. "I'm ready, Em. I promise," Jack replied, his voice imbued with sincerity. The shimmering moon hung above them, waiting to witness the unveiling of truths. "I feel like I've been drowning," she exhaled, choking on the weight of her admission. "While you were busy chasing success, I was shrinking trying to be someone that fit into your world, but I don't want that." Jack's chest tightened as he wrestled with his own reality. She had been lost, and he hadn't even noticed. "I'm so sorry," he breathed, each word steeped in regret. "I've been too wrapped up in my own life to see how much you needed me, how much I needed you." Tears sparkled in Emily's eyes, and for a brief moment, vulnerability mingled with fierce bravery. "I'm scared, Dad. I'm scared that fixing this means facing the hardest parts of who I am. I don't want you to place expectations on me anymore." "I would never do that, Em," Jack murmured, his heart swelling. "I just want you to know you're enough, just as you are. No need to meet anyone's standards." The air around them felt lighter, a bridge spanning the chasm between broken parts. Emily took a deep breath, her next words steadying themselves. "There were days I felt invisible, like you didn't see me at all. And when you crashed into your world of success, I felt crushed. I wanted to shout to you to beg you to look my way." As she spoke, Jack realized the duality of their pain, two lives parallel, yet isolated. It was a turning point. "We can go through this together, one moment, one conversation at a time," he replied, genuine urgency flooding his voice. Just then, that wild dog returned, weaving closer again, as if sensing their fragile, yet fervent determination to reach each other. "Look, Em," Jack said, pointing toward the creature. "It's like he's showing us the way through the darkness. He's been through hardships too, just like us." Emily's brow furrowed, her breath catching as the dog advanced with tentative steps. "Maybe," she nodded slowly, still processing their shared journey. "It really does show that together we can confront our fears." Jack smiled softly, that wave of hope crashing around them once more. He reached out, allowing the dog to sniff his hand. "We all carry scars, Em. It's how we navigate through them that can turn our story around. We can rebuild, I promise you that." Tears brimmed in Emily's eyes, happiness intertwined with hope. "So what's next?" she asked quietly, vulnerability still woven in her tone. "Next, we take it one step at a time," Jack suggested gently. "We'll explore the cove tomorrow, make new memories, and we can talk about everything, even the things that hurt." She pressed softly, her eyes darting from the dog to him. "Especially those things," he affirmed with tender conviction. "That's what will unite us." Honesty. The dog, sensing their connection, nestled closer, laying its head between them, a shared warmth illuminating their fragile bond. As butterflies danced along the cool night air, Jack felt a sense of serenity wash over him, washing away the jagged lines between them. "Will you go with me to face the water in the morning?" Emily broke the silence, a hopeful smile emerging. "I'd follow you anywhere," Jack replied, that infectious smile mirrored on his face. As they gathered back toward the direction of the moonlit shore, the connection deepened, threads of understanding weaving their hearts closer. The shadows receded with every step. They were now stepping toward a new era of their lives, a journey marked by love and resilience. "I'm ready, Dad," Emily said softly as they strolled forward, the shadows of the night retreating. Together. And in that moment, Jack knew their story was just beginning, a fresh chapter filled with promise and love. They faced the unknown horizon ahead, no longer trapped in shadows but together in the light. Time would reveal their transformation, but tonight, they had carved a path forward hand in hand. Don't wait another second. If you felt this journey, you need to subscribe immediately to not miss our next exclusive stories. Show your support, click that like button now to fuel the algorithm, and let us know how this transformation resonated with you in the comments. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need this inspiration in their lives. The time is now. You can be a part of this incredible journey that connects us all.